I'm Dan Matutina. I'm a designer and illustrator. I'm the co-founder of Plus 63. People usually interchange branding and brand identity design. There's a difference. Branding is more of the emotional response of the consumer or the target audience of a certain brand or business. Brand identity design naman is the collection of visual and verbal elements that define the brand. So this can be the logo, which is the most visual or the most distinct part of it. It also includes typography, the color palette like the Pantone, the hex decimal code of the colors, the shapes and the forms that you associate the brand with, the imagery, the iconography. That's what composes a whole brand identity design. And then there's also the part wherein there's a brand identity application that includes the business cards, the IDs, the merch, the t-shirts, where the brand identity is applied. Once you develop the whole brand identity, you then define the creative direction of how the brand is represented. The creative direction for the brand is sort of the manifestation of the brand in visual terms. It just doesn't have to be visual, pwede rin siyang verbal part of it, like the mood, the tone. The role of brand design is to help businesses and brands define their visual and also the verbal voice, because designers cannot create from a vacuum. So all of this information, like what the brand mission is, what they're about, all of it should come from the brands. Brands should invest in brand identity design because it will help them gain clarity. The role of the designers is to assist them in gaining that clarity. Apart from that, the role of the designers is to create the visual representation of a brand and something that would make them stand out from a crowded market. We also help them see how their brands can be different visually compared to their competitors. So there's a lot of collaboration. For Plus 63, we follow a certain process, but the first part is listening. For me, that's the most important part of brand design or any design work in general. You need to listen to what the brand and the clients are saying. Listening doesn't necessarily mean like taking everything that they say and then following it. It's more finding insight to what they're saying. The next part is ideation or the idea generation part of the project. This is where we try to find what's the most interesting, what's the most unique thing about the brand or about the client or about the company, and then create a visual representation of it or create an execution that would reflect what the brand is all about. The next part is execution. This is the part wherein we start designing either in front of the computer or in some other ways like creating prototypes or objects, and then from there, that's when we do production. It's very important for a designer to be involved in production because design is not just about thinking, it's not just about visualizing things. It's also about producing it and producing it in such a way that it matches your vision. We've also worked with some clients before who are not familiar with the whole brand identity process or the brand design process. And we've worked with this public hospital back in my hometown in Tacloban City. They had no experience. How do we do this thing? How do we define our brand? So the whole team went there and then we did this brand sprint. It's a process developed by Google Ventures. So the whole process is trying to walk them through the whole process of brand design. So what the logo is, what the colors are, and then helping them also to position their brand, what's their brand personality. For me, mas nag-i-enjoy actually ako dun sa work na hindi alam ng client yung design. Kasi in a way, it also, grounds you. For any design project, I guess for me, yung most successful metric is the clients and the consumers are happy. Then it means that you were able to connect with them emotionally or in an emotional level for the design work. One of the projects that we've worked on in the studio that I would say was pretty successful, even if the response was, very varied, was the brand design work that we did for the UP Fighting Maroons. It was successful because yung mga stakeholders like the athletes and the chancellor and everyone from UP who was part of the whole process were happy with what we did. The other side of it, syempre, a community is not singular. Sobrang daming tao. So marami rin ibang tao from UP who didn't like it. You cannot satisfy everyone. But it's okay because at least nakakuha din kami ng response. The worst thing that can happen in any rebrand or brand design or even design work is that parang parang walang response from anyone. And the reason why it was also successful for me was that parang sabay din siya at the time that the rebrand happened, the team started winning. Parang yun, yung naging role ng branding work namin was sort of a symbol to show that progress. That was very memorable, even if for me, it wasn't the best design work that we can do. My advice, siguro for brands looking for designers or brand identity designers or design studios when they work on projects is to listen to your designers. Kasi most of the designers, when we work on the project, we go through a lot of process internally, and when we present something to the client or to the brands, it went through that whole process already. We design because that's how we perceive the brand could be. For brand designers or for designers in general, it's also important to listen to the client. I think some designers sometimes get into the point na parang we know more about the clients, but we don't. We can only design based on the information that's given to us, and it's up to us to pick certain things from those insights or from those information to create something that would make our clients understand our process. So for both sides, listen to each other kasi you're parang singular naman yung natin yung path and we want to help each other achieve success for the brand.